Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Coast News. And as always, got some amazing news from different theme parks, rides, attractions and events all over the world. So let's get straight into the news today. Our top story for tonight: Six Flags and Cedar Fair have now merged into one huge company. And I honestly did not see this coming at all. And this is going to change everything, I think, in terms of like US, in terms of the Six Flags and Cedar Fair theme parks. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, basically these are two separate theme park companies that own different theme parks all across the US and also Canada and Mexico as well. Six Flags obviously owns loads of different parks in America, and they also own one in Mexico. Cedar Fair are very similar. They own loads of theme parks in obviously America, and they own one in Canada as well. There's obviously quite a few differences between the two of them. Obviously, all of the Six Flags parks, or most of them anyway, usually tend to start with the word Six Flags, and then they have like a different names like Six Flags Magic Mountain, Six Flags Great Adventure, over Texas, Fiesta Texas, Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. There's so many. Obviously, Cedar Fair, they don't do it that exact way. Their parks tend to have more completely different names. So they're the company that owns places like Cedar Point, Kings Island, Kings Dominion, Dorney Park, Michigan Adventure, places like that. And obviously another trait between both of them is Six Flags. Obviously most Six Flags parks tend to have rides themed to DC and Looney Tunes, and obviously obviously those are like sort of two main themed lands of the park. Or they do have like original themed stuff as well, but one of their main sort of traits is having lands between those two properties. Cedar Fair, they're not really so much on the intellectual property stuff, although in most of their parks they do have kids lands themed to Snoopy. So obviously they're both very similar companies in terms of like the large companies operating American theme parks. However, recently, literally just the other day, it was reported that they have now officially merged into one huge company where they will operate and basically sort of maintain a grand total of 42 theme parks across the United States, Canada and Mexico. Even though both companies are merging together, instead of actually coming up with a brand new name, they're going to call it Six Flags, meaning that Cedar Fair is technically no more, it's all just Six Flags. Obviously it's been met with mixed opinions as to how this is going to affect the Cedar Fair parks. But I'm looking forward to see how this develops over the course of the next few years at both Six Flags and Cedar Fair parks. In other news today, Angry Birds Land at Thorpe Park is going to be rethemed into a brand new themed land in 2024. And it was we kind of had a sort of impression that this was going to happen because obviously the whole area itself just seems like sort of the least sort of, paid attention to in the whole of Thorpe Park. But if you know what I'm talking about, basically Angry Birds Land is a themed land located at Thorpe Park in Surrey, England. It was originally part of Amity Cove, the themed area is home to rides such as Tidal Wave, Stealth, Flying Fish, things like that. However, in 2014, they partnered with Rovio to make a brand new themed land themed around Angry Birds, the mobile game, which was extremely popular at the time. And it contained a total of 3 rides, or 3 attractions, let's say. There's the King Pig's Wild Hog Dodgems, which was a traditional sort of Dodgems ride. There's Angry Birds 4D, which was a 4D cinema, which was originally known as Pirates 4D because it was originally part of Amity. And then there's Detonator, which had been there since I think the mid 2000s, since 2003 or 4. They just sort of they didn't rename it or retheme it. They just they did sort of add a new tagline to it and named it to Detonator Bombs Away. But just didn't add much apart from a tiny bit of Angry Birds theming. Obviously Angry Birds was very popular at the time that this opened. Over the years, it kind of got met with mixed reception, saying because obviously, literally Angry Birds, to put it simply, it literally sort of fell in popularity as quick as it rose in popularity as well. Over the years, people thinking this sort of a really outdated themed land. I'm thinking why is there an Angry Birds themed land at Thorpe Park. I mean, it was kind of, even still today, it kind of was a confusing decision. But obviously it was meant to be a kids area, which is a bit strange considering Thorpe Park, the main target audience is for thrill seekers. Plus, I don't know about you, but I don't think Detonator is exactly a kids' ride. It's a 115-foot tall drop tower. But either way, Thorpe Park have announced that they'll be retheming the Angry Birds Land into a brand new theme, which we don't know yet, for 2024. All the rides that are currently there will remain the same, but they'll just be rethemed and renamed probably. And the Angry Birds intellectual property will be gone. So 2024 is looking to be an absolutely amazing year for Thorpe Park. We've got the new themed land replacing Angry Birds Land, plus we've got Hyperia, the UK's tallest and fastest roller coaster, opening next year. And it's going to be absolutely amazing, and I can't wait to see what it's like next year. Also in the news today, also to do with Thorpe Park, the Outer Banks dive on Hyperia has officially been completed. And this is honestly insane how fast Hyperia is going up, how fast it's being built. Like, this brand new element they just built on the ride is already the second tallest structure in the park, and it's not even the highest point on the ride. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, basically Hyperia is obviously a brand new roller coaster opening at Thorpe Park next year. It is a Mack Rides hypercoaster. Upon opening, it is going to be the UK's tallest and fastest roller coaster, reaching a maximum height of 236 feet and a maximum speed of over 80 miles an hour. And obviously, they recently started vertical construction at the start of last month, shortly after they revealed the name Hyperia, because originally it was known as Project Exodus, was as its code name, but then they revealed the official name on the Fright Night's VIP press event. At the end of that event, they gathered all the VIP guests into the marquee and revealed the name Hyperia. And it looks absolutely amazing. Literally not long after, they had already built, they already placed in, shortly after, I believe the start of vertical construction, they placed in over 20 golden support columns within 48 hours, which is really quick. And literally not even a month later, they've already built the first full element on the ride. Now, this element is what's known as an Outer Banks dive. It's never really, I don't think it's ever been done on a roller coaster before. Basically, it goes up banks to the right, and it goes into an Outer Banks sort of turn element up to a maximum height of 165 feet. And then it comes back down, but as it's going down, it goes into an inversion, which has never been done before. Thorpe Park have stated that when it opens, this will be the tallest inversion in Europe and also the 6th tallest inversion in the world, which is insane to think about. We're going to have one of the world's tallest inversions at Thorpe Park. And this isn't even the highest point on the ride. Like I said, they've still got yet to build the junior implement, even though it's massive. The non-inverted implement, the dive loop, the outer bank, the two airtime hills, and obviously the lift hill, which is 236 foot tall. Obviously, all the track for the remaining elements are still on the island behind the Swan, which was originally where a roller coaster was planned to get built, so that's pretty cool. I'd imagine next they're going to build probably one of the elements that precede it, so probably like the implement or dive loop, or they might start building the lift hill next, who knows. But either way, I'm so glad to see that they finished the first element on the ride, and I can't wait to see how Hyperia progresses over the winter season. And finally in the news today, Alton Towers Fireworks have officially started for 2023. And I'm really excited for this year's fireworks. It honestly sounds like it's going to be amazing. But if you know what I'm talking about, basically Alton Towers usually every year in the first week of November hold a fireworks show, which usually goes on for I think 3 days of the season in total. This year it's going to go on from the 3rd of November, which is today, to the 4th, which is tomorrow, and then the 5th, which is this Sunday. Obviously they only have it for 3 days of the season and not a whole month, because obviously the fireworks display itself is huge. They literally have the fireworks show usually starts at 7 o'clock. It goes on for typically half an hour, and there's so much stuff that goes on in that fireworks show, so many new special effects like fireworks, lasers, lights. Last year they introduced drones to the show at the start, flying drones that go out at night with lights on to make cool patterns, and it was really amazing. That was the brand new elements of the show last year. This year they're introducing a brand new element to the show that's never been seen in Alton Towers history. We don't know what that element is yet, because at the time of recording the fireworks actually have yet to start. They're going to start in like a couple of hours. Obviously if you're going to the event like probably tomorrow or Sunday, and you don't want spoilers, avoid social media, because it's going to be mental. There's going to be so many people posting about like the fireworks, and it's going to be mental. Obviously, usually, I think even still now, fireworks are usually a sold out event, because that's probably like one of the busiest events of the season. Because it's so amazing. This year's fireworks also consists of what they've described as a fantasy fairy tale adventure theme. And obviously, unlike previous seasons, they've got no screens in the actual display itself. We know that last year and the year before they had screens on these like tower structures that were sort of built around the lake. This year there's no screens. But they do have like loads of tower structures. We don't know what they're for. They could be just like lights. There's a rumour going about that the brand new elements in the display could be like a water projection, where they have water fountains lined up on the lake and they project something onto the water itself, which I've seen obviously Disney have done in like their other shows like World of Colour and things like that. So could Alton Towers do that with their fireworks displays here? We don't know. If they do that, that would honestly be so cool. In fact, I'm pretty sure they've already done that with Hyperia when that operated last season for Christmas. So if this year's fireworks have a like fountain like screen effect, projection effect, that'll be so cool. But either way, I cannot wait to see what the fireworks have to offer for this year at Alton Towers Fireworks 2023, and I'm sure you can't wait to see it either. So yeah, that is it for this week's episode of Coast News. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you did, then please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment what you would like to see in the next video. Bye!